Hey, good afternoon. Captain Roger, day 7. Finished a week of walking with God. Let's go for a walk. I'm back in the neighborhood near my core, downtown Napa here. Nice neighborhood, good place for a walk. So let's talk about the story that I started to tell you about yesterday, about Isaac. Now, we've been talking about Abraham all week, and Isaac is Abraham's only legitimate child. A whole big story there, but we're not going to get into that right now. Right now, I just want to talk about Isaac's walk with God, because it is the most amazing walk of any in the Bible. Almost any, anyway. There's a lot of pretty cool walks in there, which is why we're doing this whole series. But Isaac is remarkable, and he's barely ever mentioned for it, because the story about his walk is buried inside a story about his father. Now, Abraham woke up one day, and God came to him in a vision and said, "Hey, Abe, I want you to take Isaac, your only son, take him to this mountain 3 days' journey away, bring him up to the top, lay him on an altar, and sacrifice him." So Abraham gets up and says, "Yes, sir." Takes Isaac and some firewood and a knife and heads up the mountain, and then gets Isaac up there, builds an altar, ties his son up, puts him on the altar, and is about to strike him dead, and then burn his body into ash and smoke so that he could say it's been dedicated to God. Now, I gotta tell you, this story is horrible. There's a point to it, but it's not what I want to talk about today, and we don't have all day. So I'm going to skip that for right now, and you can tune in on Sunday and hear me talk about it more on my sermon if you want. But for right now, let's just talk about Isaac, because Abraham's walk is pretty amazing, that he's willing to take this child of his one and only child, his one and only son, and do that because God walked him. God asked him to. God was walking with him in this direction. Now, God saved Isaac. Let me just make sure I make a point of that. God was trying to make a point. Like I said, it's a bigger story. But the real walk here is Isaac's. Because Abraham, at the time that he did this, is in his 130s. He was 100 years old before Isaac was born. And now, he's in his mid-30s. So Abraham is 130-something. And he's too weak to even carry the firewood up the mountain. He has to have Isaac carry it for him. Which, when you think about it, means there's something important that happens in this story. And it's Isaac choosing to walk with God. Because Isaac's in his mid-30s. He's in the prime of his life. His father is an old man. His father needed help carrying just some sticks. Who was really walking with God here? Who was making the biggest sacrifice? It wasn't Abraham. It was Isaac. Sometimes when you walk with God, you make sacrifices because you know it's keeping you walking with God. Now again, this particular story, it's horrible, and there is a bigger point. But I think Isaac's walk is worth mentioning. Speaking of which, I've got to finish mine. Grace and peace to y'all.